Here is our Terran player, who is here because of Razor, G-Skill, and all of our other sponsors. Thanks again for sponsoring us. So this guy play in our wonderful GSL tournament.
And here he is. Wears glasses as well, doesn't look quite as smart as his opponent. At the bottom left in blue, the Terran who doesn't know what hit him.
Polt.
Apparently, Polt has very good English, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Look at him.
Yeah. He does look rather academic.
Yeah, he does. He looks like a really smart and a nice guy. But, well, nice won't help him right now. He needs to deal with Finn, and I am honest with you, I wouldn't have expected Finn to dominate that last game as he did.
Now, this is, you know, there's a bit of a debate that people have between Bio versus Mech in Terran versus Terran. What's better? I think I've heard more people, you know, I've talked to players from like Slayers, I've talked to a lot of people, and most people seem to think that Mech is the way to go when it's played properly. Polt is one of the few players that kind of is sticking on to this Bio style. He's always gone Bio, and it's not as effective in a straight-up battle, but if you use it properly, it can do okay. And I think that this map might be a good map for him, because Tal'Darim is one of the better maps for using that Bio style. We saw SC almost beat MVP using Bio on this. Actually, wait, no. Was it? No, actually, it was MVP that used Bio against SC on this map and won. And Polt, actually, when he lost to SC in the previous season, this was one of the maps that he took using Bio. So this is Polt has to win this map. Obviously, if he loses this map, he's out of the tournament. But also, this is going to fit his style a lot better, I think. And he's actually starting off with a Reaper. Reaper expand for both players, actually. Well, actually, no, maybe not. Finn's getting another Refiner. He may not expand off this.
This is going to be pretty cool. I actually don't think that I've seen Reaper against Reaper fight in the last 6 months. That would be pretty cool.
There's been a couple games I remember seeing. I don't remember which games they were, but it's kind of a coincidence when that happens.
I have to admit that I usually avoid Terran versus Terran. In the GSL, every Terran versus Terran that I had to cast so far was really, really exciting. I just remember the final of the Arena of Legends. But before that, when I was still in Europe, I tried to avoid Terran versus Terran wherever I could, because I just hated the matchup. Right now, I'm falling in love with it all over again. And
well, when it used to be Marine Tank versus Marine Tank every single game, and it was always the same.
Viking Tank, oh my god.
Or even Viking Tank, yeah, that was even worse. But I think the Terran versus Terran matchup has evolved a lot in recent months.
Ever played Warcraft 3 Night Elf versus Night Elf with just trees hitting each other for about 50 minutes? I'm not kidding. You know that you could uproot the buildings and they would attack each other, and you could actually heal your buildings by just eating a random tree in the forest. So those fights would go on for about an hour. That was the worst thing that could happen to you. It was even, but yeah, Viking Tank is kind of similar. It was atrocious, believe me. It was, don't get me started. Yeah,
that'd be like, actually, I do remember once seeing, I don't actually remember the game at all, but I remember once seeing someone build a planetary fortress next to an enemy planetary fortress, and both players repairing their planetaries as they hit each other. Kind of the same thing.
That sounds so stupid. Stupid but funny. At the same time, we have Finn with a Reaper in his opponent's main. He's already picking off the second SCV, trying to get a third kill, pulling a lot of mining time. Oh, doing a good job and killing another one. Look at that. Finn with a beautiful control right now.
Oh, and actually, Polt is counter-talking with 3 Reapers. He did, for just a moment, have vision of Finn's other Reapers in the middle, but Finn is bringing his forces back to deal with these Reapers. He's going to force a cancel on the command center.
And 3 Reaper can one-hit an SCV. Oh, he needs to...
Well, actually, depots don't even matter to Reapers. They can take them out pretty quick. And they can take out Hellions pretty quick as well. These Hellions are doomed, but the Reapers of Finn have come back as well. And while Polt targets down Finn's Hellions, Finn targets down the Reapers, and Finn gains the advantage.
We have an expansion for Polt right now. The expansion is already up and running. He already has the upgrade for the orbital command, so he has a slight advantage over his opponent. Finn able to repel that attack of Polt, but he is going for the Cloaked Banshees again.
Wow, yeah, Cloaked Banshees to follow up. And there's already a turret going up in Polt's, both of his bases actually, so he is going to be very prepared. Of course, these Reapers, if they snuck in and killed the turret, might be handy to do it. Is he going to do it? He's targeting the SCV building the turret, but doesn't actually go for the turret, and he's going to barely get both Reapers out alive.
Wow. Talking about micro.
Total of 22 hit points combined on those Reapers.
And there's the Banshee. Banshee coming in, Cloak about to finish, taking down the first Marine.
And there he has to Cloak, but again, that turret is there, so it's not going to be too effective, that Cloak.
We already have Combat Shield done for Polt, so the Banshee actually needs 3 shots for a Marine.
Yeah, the vision range on that turret is actually enormous, by the way, so with those Marines there, if the Banshee gets close enough to kill his SCVs, he will have detection on it. Maybe at the very extent he won't, but for the most part he's going to be safe as long as he micros his Marines properly.
It actually looks like Polt learned his lesson from the last game.
Yeah.
Getting that combat shield a lot earlier, getting those 2 turrets, but still he's losing some of those Marines, losing another one, and will lose even more Marines. Look at that, there's the scan!
Oh, Banshee does go down. And it looks like he hasn't followed up with a second Banshee until just now, a second one completing. It's still back at his main base though. I'm not sure if Finn's going to send it out.
We have 32 SCVs to 36 in favor of Polt, by the way.
Yeah, he got his expansion up earlier. He's been macroing out those workers, although he has not taken any gas at his expansion yet, whereas Finn has 3 gas right now.
And we only have Marines for the Terran player in the blue trunks. We only have Marines for Polt, while his opponent is getting the siege tank upgrade. It's getting more Banshees, it's getting siege tanks. Once again, the first 2 Vikings for Polt being built right now. And there's Banshee number 2. The third one is being built, as I just mentioned, and picking off the SCV, killing a Marine, and now focusing just the reactor, trying to bait his opponent a little bit. Whoa, Stim being used.
Surrounded. Oh, there the scan goes off, but too late. But he does. Not too late to get that Banshee, actually, but a nice force of Finn moving across the map. Siege Tech is just finished.
And he already used Stim quite a lot. There are 2 medivacs trying to make up for those hit points lost. 83 supply against 84. Another command center being built by Polt. Now he's trying to expand again, getting the advantage and sieging up at the low ground.
And he didn't send that second Banshee in. He kept it, or actually the third Banshee, he kept it so he could gain vision of the high ground for those tanks with the Banshee. A few Marines and a Hellion to protect the tanks on the low ground as well. This is a fierce push, but Polt with a couple dozen Marines, it looks like he's going to try and break this contain.
Yep, he's going for it, stimming in and taking apart all those bio units and focusing down the tanks. Wow, Finn just lost a lot of units, but at the same time he still had the supply. 81 against 62, and that Banshee, look at the Banshee just killing everything. 1 in the main base, 1 at the expansion, both of them with roughly 10 to 12 kills. And there's already another force at the expansion of Finn. That guy, I mean, wow.
Wow, indeed. This guy is just picking Polt apart. Polt going for a counterattack though, but Finn is sieged up on the high ground, and he's got almost as many Marines, so Polt is bypassing that front door and going to try and drop the main. This is exactly what he needs to do, and this time Finn does not have the Vikings to stop those medevacs.
20 SCVs left for Polt. Those 2 Banshees wreaking havoc in the main base of the blue Terran player, dropping into Finn's main base right now. There's 1 tank pulling the SCVs at the same time.
Why did he drop within that siege tank's range instead of on top of it? He's losing so many Marines. The SCV is able to buffer as well, and Finn brings back his forces and is going to clean up this drop.
Finn lost a lot of SCVs in the process, but he still had with 12 of them. And those medivacs doing a number on the bio forces of Finn, but there's still 2 Banshees. But Polt on the ropes with 52 supply against 79 right now. 3 Banshees closing in for the kill. There's the one single scan, but just waiting for it. No. This is not going to happen.
Wow, gets out with a few of his units, and again, no Vikings there, so not able to dispatch those Medivacs. But Finn holding things off pretty well. In the meantime, Polt, because of those Banshees in his main, has been reduced to, as you said, about 25 SCVs. So Polt has a much lesser economy right now, and I think Polt, he actually got his Marines into a really good position against Finn's Marines, but I really have no idea why he dropped where he did. The siege tank was right there, and he's like, I'm actually just going to drop out here where I can't hit your siege tank, but you can hit mine with my Marines.
Nonetheless, I have to admit that I'm really amazed by Finn's plays. I wouldn't have thought that possible, and Polt is just struggling so hard against Finn right now. If somebody would have asked me before that game, I would have given the advantage to Polt, but Finn is just so damn good. That guy with 170 supply against 73 is just controlling his units perfectly with a macro that is just insane. Attacking once again, sieging up at the low ground, putting pressure onto the expansion of his opponent. But Polt with a run by own, that might actually work.
Finn is unsieged. He needed to siege that tank up. He hadn't sieged it yet, and instead the Stim is going to hunt down that tank.
Look at that! Retreating with the SCVs as well, trying to surround the army of the Terrorblade. He will lose so many units. Polt coming back into this game. That might be his chance.
Polt killing a lot of SCVs there. At the same time, back at the natural of Polt, his expansion is being shelved, and they have both lost about the same amount of SCVs at this point of the game. But Finn's reinforcements are too great, and he's forced Polt's counterattack back for now.
And is still putting pressure onto the expansion of Polt. Finn just so good. That Banshee, all those Banshees, I have to say, they are really the key in Finn's game right now. They have killed so many units, not only the SCVs, but also, of course, when Polt was engaging, they were one of the key units in throwing back those attacks, still with 15 supply ahead, putting pressure onto that Expo. The SCV count is now 18, 19 for Finn against 28. Polt actually ahead in terms of his economy.
Wow, yeah. Unfortunately, though, Polt has nothing to stop this force moving across the map. And actually, he might lose some Medivacs. They're all very, very low on health. Well, a few of them are, rather. And Finn is regrouped with his main army. Here he goes. He stims in. The tanks siege up. And the siege tanks are going to do so much damage to the bio army of Polt. Polt is on the rope, 20 supply behind right now. And the Medivacs fly right over those Marines.
Yeah, there's just nothing that he can do right now. Polt about to lose that game. Finn moving in for the kill, taking out Marine after Marine, unit after unit, targeting down that command center as well. The expansion is gone, will be gone in a second. This is going to be GG.
Yeah, Finn has done. He is finished with sieging up on the low ground and poking. He is going for the kill right now. And Finn has basically taken Polt and treated him like boiled pork and is now pulling him apart. Piece by piece, eating parts of him one by one and enjoying it with barbecue sauce.
Well said. That was quite a tasty meal for Finn. He's taking down Polt with 2-0. I mean, Finn is just so good right now. Look at that guy. I mentioned it before. I'm a fan. I can't wait for the next matches of that guy. Unbelievable. Taking down Polt with 2-0 in a beautiful fashion. And Polt is losing his last production abilities. He's still clinging on to this game, but it won't do him any good. 54 supply, pulling the SCVs, trying to engage once more, and now losing every single unit that he has. That's the GG! Wow.
Finn takes out Polt 2-0 and didn't look weak at any point in the entire series.
Does he look a little bit bored?
Well, Brood War players are known for being a little bit more stoic, actually, whether they win or lose, so not surprised to see a lack of emotion from Finn. But yeah, he looked really, really strong in that series. He's going to be advancing to the third round. And a reminder to you guys, by the way, when you get to the third round, if you win the third round, you go straight into the Code S qualification matches. Then you just have to win one more match to get into Code S. If you lose the third round, even if you lose the third round, you go into the up and down matches where you still have a chance to get into Code S. Is just more difficult. So if you win today, you have a very, very solid shot. You know, winning today is reaching out and having that Code S spot within your grasp. So a very, very important win for Finn in his first Code A appearance.
And I have to say that on the level that he plays right now, he has a very good chance of ending up in Code S. I mean, that was quite an impressive play.
Yeah. Now, of course, I believe he is going to be going up against one of the players. I don't have the bracket in front of me. I'm going to have to look at that later. But he's going to be going up against, remember, if you go 0-2 in your Code S group, you go to the first round of Code A. If you go 1-2 in your Code S group, you go to the second round of Code A, which is what we're doing today. If you went 0-2 in your round of 16 Code S group, then you go straight into that third round of Code A. So Finn is going to be playing someone from the round of 16 of Code S in his next match. We're going to try and find out who that is, but we're going to take a break first. We'll see you in a few.